Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 30, and I'm recording on Memorial Day 2024. This is the third movie I've watched from the sixth Academy Awards ceremony, which again was 1932 and 1933 movies. This one was Little Women from 1933, and it was directed by George Cukor, not sure how to say that. Written by David Hempstead, screenplay by Victor Herman and Sarah Y. Mason. Obviously based on the 1868 novel Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Produced by Marion C. Cooper. Cinematography, Henry W. Gerard, and edited by Jack Kitchen. This starred Katharine Hepburn, Joan Bennett, Paul Lucas, Francis D., Jean Parker, Edna May Oliver, Douglas Montgomery, and Henry Stevenson. So this is the first Katharine Hepburn movie to come across in the Oscars here. And this was only, looking at IMDb, this was only the fourth movie that she was in that was released. First one was in 1932, and then she had three in 1933, this being the last one released that year for her. So a little Wikipedia info here. 1933 American pre-code drama film based on the 1868 to 1869 two-volume novel of the same name by Louisa May Alcott. This is the third screen adaptation of the book. It follows two silent versions. The first released in 1917 with Mina Gray, and the second in 1918 with Dorothy Bernard. After this 1933 sound version came the 1949 Little Women with June Allison, Elizabeth Taylor, and Peter Lawford. The 1994 film Little Women starring Winona Ryder, Claire Danes, Kirsten Dunst, amongst others, and the 2019 film Little Women featuring Saoirse Ronan. And that one was also nominated for an Academy Award, so we'll get to that hopefully eventually. I'm not going to go into the plot on this one too much. It is Little Women, and people have heard of the story, and if you haven't, then Google it. All right? I'm not going to do your work for you. Come on. So this was pretty good. This is the longest of the movies from this round of Oscars, and so I wanted to kind of get it out of the way this weekend, in a sense, because I can't. Some of the shorter ones I'm able to like watch in the morning before work because I have enough time when they're 66 minutes like the last one. But this one was longer, so at 155 minutes, and I did have to rent this one from Amazon. It was about $4.25 or something. So it was good. It was Katharine Hepburn was very good. Everybody was very good in it. They were, especially Katharine Hepburn. I feel like they were a little bit over the top at times. Like she was a little dramatic. That is not necessarily a fault of hers, or the direction, or just the way that they wanted her to play the character. But she was a little bit loud and yelly and dramatic at times. And it follows the basic story. I've not read the book. I did see the newer movie, so I know kind of the story. So I don't know how closely this followed versus the book versus the other movies. But it did feel a bit long. It stretched on a bit long to me. It was a bit slow at times, but I think probably even the newer one did a little. And the newest one is also the longest one, and so yikes, over 2 hours. But overall, I liked it. Think of the other movies in this group. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the fourth movie I've watched. Private Life of Henry VIII, State Fair, She Done Him Wrong, and Little Women. I don't know. This one was pretty good. I think I might put this at the top spot right now. Over, I had Private Life of Henry VIII there before, but I might move this one up. It was really good. So that's it. I liked it. Number one right now. A little bit of behind the scenes here, production. Although David O. Selznick received no screen credit, he returned to RKO from MGM to supervise the production as the last film left in his contract with the studio. The prime goal of director George Cukor was to emphasize the juxtaposition between sacrifice and family life in Little Women. And I feel like he directed another one of these Oscar movies. Let's just take a look. 1 Hour with You, which I did not care for. Little Women, David Copperfield, Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, I think he's got a bunch on here that might be I don't think it's that Romeo and Juliet that was nominated, but Philadelphia Story. Yeah, so he's done a bunch. This is a quote from him in 1938. When I directed Little Women, I had to develop a new technique to ensure the best results from the collaboration of Miss Hepburn and myself, a fine actress. Katharine Hepburn is more than a personality. Katharine Hepburn is more than a personality. She is a human dynamo, without meaning to be, and simply because of the vigor of her own mind and the intensity of her attitude toward her own work, she can be, if given the chance, what I would call an artistic bully. I do not say that had I decided to lie down to her from the start, a less good picture would have resulted, but a director with a conscience will fight tooth and nail to get the picture as he wants it. Let me hasten to say that Miss Hepburn and I did not fight at all. I confess freely that I use many weapons in dealing with her: simulated rage, ridicule, and good humored cajolery. She has a great sense of humor and is capable of directing it against herself. Other notes: at Hepburn's request, costume designer Walter Plunkett created a dress for her character based on one worn by her maternal grandmother in a tintype photo. The film was budgeted at $1 million, and 4,000 people worked on it during the year-long production schedule. Approximately 3,000 items, including costumes, furnishings, and household appliances, were authenticated by researchers. Bob Irwin, a former artist and interior decorator, was hired to oversee the set decoration, and he modeled the interior of the March home after Orchard House, Louisa May Alcott's Massachusetts home. Exteriors were filmed at Lancaster Lake and Sunland Providencia Ranch in the Hollywood Hills and the Warner Brothers Ranch in Pasadena. Original prints of the film employed the use of hand coloring for fireplaces and candles. So yeah, this was a good one. Kind of somewhat surprisingly. Like I said, it was a little slow, but overall, the performances were good, and it's a good story. Like it's a good, there's good bones to the story. That's why it's been made so many times. So, and also Hollywood's unoriginal. So that's the other reason. But still, it's a good story. So it works. That's it. I will see you next time.